How about the Cowboys?
Who's got a real crack? Come up there.
Here, let me get. I gotta go. I've got a real crack. Like,
Yeah.
Prove it. My sexy ass.
Need a little bit of fingernail.
Okay, everybody.
Oh, let me get in
Yeah,
here.
get in here, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, get in there.
Wait,
I'm gonna do a 1, 2, 3,
You gotta get down. It's front row.
4, 5, 6. Wait for 7, 8, and then
At 9, 10. Okay,
That's what that comes with.
front row. Just do a half crouch. Just do a half
crouch me.
Half crouch. Okay.
Okay, ready? Okay. On the count of 3, everyone's gonna say, "Crack him if you got him."
And then crack him.
And
Drink.
then open the drink. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Crack him if you got him.
Let's go.
Welcome to Let's go. Man, welcome to episode number 4 with Conversation with Chris. And man, I got my brothers from another mother, from another country. Is my man, is Adam. It is Anthony, the Cowboy CanFan. What's happening, fellas? What's going on?
What's up, man? Easter Sunday too. What a day to be talking to big Cowboys Chris. I love it. Couldn't be better than today. I love it.
Anytime that Chris invites us anywhere, I'm all for it. So like
in.
you said, if it's an Easter Sunday, we got a long weekend up here in Canada. I'm sure like the rest of the world, but we're ready to talk some life and get to know big Chris a little bit better.
Perfect way to ditch family too.
I know. We're on an interview. Go do something by yourself.
Chris, how are you today though on Easter Sunday?
Hey man, I'm doing wonderful. Spent the morning with the family, the grandkids and everything. Granddaughter had an Easter speech and a program. We went to that. Then this is Texas style when you hit up 2 churches on Easter Sunday. Okay. Went to one church for the grandkids. Then go to the second church, which is my brother-in-law's church, and they had barbecue and snow cones and horses out there, and the grandkids jumped on the horses and everything on Easter Sunday, and everything was right with the world.
We have bullshit ham up here. We don't get barbecue, which I'd love.
You just get a slab of ham.
Slab of ham
And some scalloped potatoes.
Yeah, scalloped potatoes is like quintessential up here in Canada, at least. Ham and scalloped potatoes.
Yep.
But I mean, maybe.
Man, I want that. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna make a joke, and it wasn't that funny anyway. So.
No, Brand. I wanted to introduce the audience to you guys. Okay. I know they all know y'all as the Can Fan, but they don't know y'all as Adam and Anthony. Okay. They probably didn't even know y'all real name.
No, we never introduce ourselves either.
Never. We never introduce ourselves. And the funniest thing, well, we're also missing Alex, who he's on his traveling escapades.
Ray J right here.
Alex is also with us. And it's really funny when we do introduce people our names and it's Adam, Anthony, and Alex. It's like 3 A's. So none of them actually take into account who's who anyway. So it's better off to just be CanFan.
We're the Canadians.
Yeah, the Canadian Cowboys fans usually.
Man, all right, let me introduce y'all, man. Look, I want to pronounce the proper pronunciation of your last name.
Do you want?
Is it S or Bess?
Bessie, kind of like Jesse, like Jesse's girl.
Okay. All right.
But instead, it's Bessie's girl.
We're gonna start with Adam. Adam Betsy. Born June 24th, 1984. I believe that was my freshman year in high school. In the lovely town of Chilliwack, British Columbia, Canada. Parents of Donald and Lila, right?
Yep.
And you guys attended. Now we call our high schools high schools. So is y'all high school called secondary school?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, why is it called secondary school?
Which it doesn't really make sense because secondary school you'd think would be like university.
Yeah.
They call that post-secondary.
They call it post-secondary.
In Canada, they call it post-secondary, which is weird.
And they call call it junior high. They call it middle school.
Okay, they call it middle school here. Okay. so they attended high school in Chilliwack, British Columbia.
Yes.
My man Adam is married, 2 kids, some lovely boys, Maverick and my man Rikers Island. You know,
Yep.
I call him Rikers Island because he's that cornerback up there in in Canada. And he's listed his favorite active football player is Michael Parsons. Is all that correct, Adam?
Yeah, that is all correct. Ant was like already like, oh, I wonder who you guys listed as your favorite player.
I didn't know if it was supposed to be active. Was it supposed to be
I don't know. I
active?
just said active because like
okay.
my problem, and we could get into it right now since we're talking about it. Was like as I'm staring at that was like the hardest question. I'm like, favorite player, like who's my favorite player? Like I don't necessarily, had I been where I'm at today in my Cowboys fandom, I would have said Dez Bryant just because I like everything. I like Dez's aura. I was gonna say anything I would say Emmitt Smith or Michael Irvin or Micah Parsons. Like it's all the same. They're all like the studs of the time. So I just put Micah Parsons because he's a current active player, and there's so much controversy around him right now that Micah Parsons.
I like it.
All right. Now Anthony Bessie, the man. I call him Captain Kirk. He's the leader. He's the emotional spark of the Cowboy CanFan. Also, same parents. Same
hope.
high school.
We hope.
Allegedly,
Allegedly, same parents. You know, also from Chilliwack, British Columbia.
Hey, Chris, I wrote right what I put down where I'm from.
The whack.
Yeah, there it is, the whack, baby.
That's what we call it, the whack.
He's from the whack in British Columbia. He lists his 2 favorite players. He had 2. Okay.
I couldn't choose.
Yeah, Sean Lee, which is one of my favorites of all time. Same last name, same number I wore in high school and college. And Dez Bryant.
Yes, sir.
All right. Man, let's get into this, man. My first topic. Because people, I know everybody will know where the hell is Chilliwack. I know where it is because I've been there.
But right in it.
Well,
go ahead.
The funny thing is whenever we meet somebody and they're like, oh, where are you from? We're like, oh, we don't ever say Chilliwack, British Columbia. You always say Vancouver, BC. And generally when we're meeting somebody from the US, it's a hit or miss of whether or not they actually know where Vancouver is. So we usually follow up and say Vancouver, British Columbia. Do you know where Seattle is? Yes. We're just north of Seattle, about 2 hours. So that's kind of geographically where we would say it. But Chilliwack is about an hour and 15, an hour and 45 minutes, depending on traffic, east of Vancouver. Okay. And we're what we call a little bumpkin town, but it's been it's booming. A lot of people since the vid and been able to work from home. They've been migrating out to Chilliwack because property was a lot cheaper. Vancouver's a very expensive place to live. So people came out to Chilliwack and they jacked our housing prices up, motherfuckers. Can we swear? Sorry, Chris. I just said motherfucker.
Of course you can. I mean, it's just Easter. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Be yourself. Be yourself. You know that.
Yeah.
Just be yourself.
Now I got a question for both of y'all. I know, growing up in Texas, it was cool. I mean, because we can experience everything. We got the big city close. We got the country real close. We got the beaches real close. We even got the deserts real close because that's how big Texas is. We can get that. Growing up in the Chilliwack, how was it, bro? I mean, was it a tight community, or were you just off to you guys selves? How was it growing up in Chilliwack?
Well, our mother was in the military and her father was in the military. So actually in our younger years, we moved around quite a bit. We were both born in Chilliwack, but we actually lived all over Canada in our younger years. And then when did we settle down in Chilliwack? You were what? 10?
We came back when I was in grade 6. So I was 11 years old.
And I was like 7 or 8.
And we moved back to Chilliwack because my mom's sister still lived in Chilliwack. And then after our dad died in a car accident, the military gave her an option on where she wanted to move. So she decided to move back to Chilliwack. And then we've been in Chilliwack since. Well, we've moved around like after post-secondary school or secondary school.
High school.
hike
High
school.
school.
Yeah, like but kind of coming back to the roots of where we're from. So when we say we're from Chilliwack, we've lived on the east coast of Canada in Ontario. We've lived in Edmonton, which is kind of left of or right, depending on what map you're looking at, left or right of center of Canada. It's out in Alberta, which is a province over, and then back in
Right.
Chilliwack.
So
But we're
back in
military
Chilliwack.
vets. Yeah.
So military in Canada, I'm really not familiar with because my wife is a military brat. So she's lived in Germany, she's lived in Italy, she's lived in America. So the military in Canada, is it just basically a Canadian base, or did your dad ever go overseas to serve?
Both of them
Yeah,
did.
both of them did. My mom actually did. Was it during the
She lived the Gulf War. She was in the Golan Heights
Golan
for 6
Heights
months.
for a while. So she did some stuff overseas, but you don't really get posted to, your family doesn't get posted to any bases around the world like the States. Like you just mentioned, the US has military bases all over the world. Canada doesn't necessarily do that, where you'll up and move. So we just kind of bounced around in Canada, but our parents both did do like tours into other countries.
And they were both in supply tech, so they were running the warehouses and supplying anyone who was active. Our dad got into the airborne regiment when that's why we were actually posted to Edmonton, because he got a position in the airborne, which airborne had some controversy back in the days in Canada, but just for hazing people. I mean, no one
who can't take a good if you can't take a good hazing, you're a
imagine
pussy.
that now though. Imagine if that was out now, like, holy cow.
Oh, you can't have hate.
But
there's no hate. You can't haze anyone.
Yeah, so we lived on a couple bases growing up, and the bases in Canada are pretty nice. Like they're all well kept up. There were lots of kids that grew up. I mean, when we lived in Ontario, it was like row houses. So they're all like blocks. So as kids, you're in like a kind of like a big block of houses. So you're with a bunch of other kids in your own courtyard, and you could jump into somebody else's courtyard, and there was like kid gang turf wars going on, right? So you'd be like, okay, we're gonna go on the other side of the base, and you're gonna bike, what we thought was like 2 hours away from our actual courtyard, but it was probably like a 15-minute bike ride. But yeah, we grew up. I mean, growing up on the base, there was lots of kids, so it was always fun for us. But when we moved back to Chilliwack, it was like the last year of the base being pretty active in Chilliwack.
Right.
And it got bought out by a company, and they made it this like nice little
Gentrification it.
Yeah, they gentrified it.
So that's funny when you say it was like little kid gangs. I mean, I could just imagine, what are y'all wearing, the maple leaf on one shirt and the other one one was red, one was blue?
Oh yeah, all of us.
Whoa! No maple leaf is ever blue. It was like red or white maple leaf. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Now, did the parents meet in the military, or did they meet in Chilliwack?
They met I think the way that my mom's told us, my dad stalked her. No, they both were from Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan,
which is like the
Saskatchewan?
Saskatchewan's like it's a farming province, basically, very flat.
Right.
A lot of farming towns.
It was like when we drove from Minneapolis to Texas. It felt like I was driving through Saskatchewan the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they kind of they met when they were both kind of getting into the military. So they were together. Actually, don't even know what year they were together. And Bandwagon Bob is probably going to get mad at us for not knowing all this stuff.
Just say 78.
They've been together since 78.
They've been together since 78.
Well, we have an older brother. So our older, I turned 40 this year. Our older brother is 42. So, and then I think they were probably together when 1978.
I think 78 was a good guess.
Yeah, you're probably correct.
78. So it's just they had 3 boys. No girls in the family?
No girls in the family. We don't produce that, and I have 2 boys, so we don't produce.
And brother Adrian just had a boy. There's the Bessie genes. It's just boys.
That's right. She was pregnant when I was up there, right? Oh, okay.
We only produce boys, unfortunately.
Hey man, my mom would have loved it because that's how she was. She was she didn't like girls. There is Bandwagon.
There she is.
They're close.
70, they met in 75, but they probably got married in 78. Actually, I think they met and then 6 months later they hooked up. They probably hooked up pretty close. Like they're probably, knocking some boots in 75. But they probably got married 78. Let's just say that.
That's what we're
That's
rolling with.
awesome. Now I just learned something. See, that's why I like these conversations, man. I know you mentioned your father passed away in a car accident.
Yep.
Was this while he was still serving, or was he out yet?
No,
Yeah,
he was serving. Yeah, he was going on Married in 77. Okay, Bob, this is not your show. Maybe Chris will get you on. We don't need you to keep updating everything. We've already moved on, okay? Yeah, you guys got married in 77. We were close. We rounded it up. Yeah, no, he was in the military. So we were posted in Edmonton, and he was in the airborne regiment for about a year, and then he died in the car accident.
Okay.
So then from there, we got posted back to Chilliwack. Because I mean, there's really nothing for us in Edmonton. Like, peace.
Now the family, the mom and dad have military experience. Now, is it required in Canada that you serve in the military, or is it optional like America?
It's optional.
No, optional.
I honestly, I wouldn't hate, to be honest, if at 18, if you had to go and do like a year of, if you weren't going to go to university or something and you had to do a year or two of military, I think that'd be a great thing to do anywhere personally, but no, it's not required.
And you know what? Actually, I don't even think, and I'm sure there is probably like grants, like Canada is pretty good at giving grants and funding, but like, in the veterans, like if you're a veteran in the US military, you kind of would get some schooling or you'd get money towards that. I don't even know if that was like, growing up, if that was an option where like you could serve for 4 or 5 years.
Of course,
and then
that's
when
an
you
option. That's an option in Canada.
Okay, well, there you go.
You get your schooling paid for, and then you just, whatever your schooling is, you do your schooling. And if it takes you 4 years to get through university, then Canada they'll pay for it all, but then you have to do 4 years of service is essentially what it is.
Sweet.
Okay. Yeah. Now, the reason I ask, because did you guys even consider the military when you guys got out of secondary school?
I did. I honestly did. I talked to my mom about doing it. I was kind of, I'm not going to get too far into it, but I was kind of a wandering soul, probably between 18 and 21, kind of trying to figure some stuff out. And yeah, I heavily thought about possibly joining the military, and I just, I never pulled the trigger. You like that? You like that there?
Yeah, man. I was like, down in the States, they have what they call, when you were getting out of high school, a buddy system. So say if you wanted to go into the military, you could go with a friend or a family member. And I was that close too. Because when you say wandering soul, after I got through playing ball in college, I was just like, man, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And then my cousin was in the Navy, and he's all over the world, and sending pictures back and everything. And it was just like, it was intriguing. And then one thing happened. The man called me. I got a job. So I never did go to the military.
Well,
so I never did. So, I almost pulled that trigger too, man, because, sometimes I go back, I regret it. I was like, man, I think I should have went to go see the world, but but then, hey, the path came this way. So, I'm happy with that path too. So now I wanted to discuss something. Okay. When y'all were in secondary school, okay. Now y'all know down here in Texas, it's football crazy here. Okay. Football. You'll get baseball and basketball, but it's just football crazy. When y'all were in high school, did y'all have that craze? What was the craze sport in high school when y'all were there?
Well, so before you kicked on some tunes there. That's not on my end here, right? Like I didn't.
Yeah, it's mine. Yeah, it's mine.
Okay.
Dad was looking at his screen. He thought he hit.
I mean, so
it was funny to watch.
We like Anth played football in high school, but the way that it was at his period of time is it was a separate league. So our school.
Well, to start off, that school didn't have, like, high schools didn't have.
That's what I was. Yeah. So
that's the easiest way to start off. There was no high school football.
There was no high school football.
He's made it sound like I was a bitch and didn't want to play high school. I wanted to play in a different league.
Yeah,
we didn't have high school
he
football.
thought he was better, so he went across the tracks to the other team.
We didn't have high school football.
Back in like this late 50s or early 60s, our high school, someone broke their neck playing football, so they kind of like banned it in town for a period of time. At least that's what they would always tell us. So they never had it, but now it's like every school in our community has a high school football team, which is
Sardis Secondary now has a football team, and it's huge here. Football is getting football's growing everywhere in the world. So I would say right now for high school sports in Chilliwack, football is probably the biggest one. There's kids that are getting offers down to the States. There's kids that are playing college football in Canada. But when we were in high school, we didn't have that. Like I played in a league called Community League Football. That's what it was. It was Community League, and there was probably about 6 or 7 teams, and I played from the time I was 12 till the time I was 18. And I'm still mad that we didn't get a chance to play high school football, because the 3 high schools in Chilliwack now are all in on high school football.
And I like, we both also grew up playing lacrosse. Like lacrosse was kind of our well, it was my sport at least. And I remember being 13 and friends were like, "Oh, you should come out and play on the football team." And I thought it was like already too late for me. So I was like, I'll just stick with lacrosse. But so it is a big regret for me for never playing, because of the amount I spent time. Like I would go to all of his games, and I did like a side hustle at the time to just record all of these games for all the local teams. And then I would cut together like a highlight tape, and then I would sell it back to the players individually to make some money from them, because hey, I had all these games that were filmed. So I was really ingrained into.
He was the audio visual dork.
Yeah, just like I am today.
Right.
Just like I am today, the AV nerd. Oh, can I get a touchdown celebration for the video?
Next time, point to the camera.
Yeah.
So Adam, have you always been that technical guy? You know, especially when social media hit. Did it hit something with you saying, okay, I see my niche?
Well, back to I never thought about going into the military, because I was like I wanted to be an actor growing up, and then at 14 I was like, oh, I can direct. So I was taking all the broadcast media classes. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to film school. I'm gonna be a filmmaker. That was like the thing. Even at turning 40, I'm still like, oh, I'm going to be a filmmaker one day. So that was like my, the one kind of North Star. So I was never like thinking, it kind of like blinded me to like thinking, oh, we both probably could have got a really good scholarship playing lacrosse in a US university, because they like to pull up box lacrosse players from Canada, because it's a little bit rougher up here. So that was like one of those things where I never even entertained it, because I was so like blinders on doing my own film stuff. So yeah, I was always into film, but when social media came up, I was never like, oh, I got to now make this a social media career. It was always like, I need to be like making films. I need to be doing films. So that was kind of like my one kind of direction that I was always headed into.
Well, I want to bring up The Wanderer and conversations within chill. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
There?
Yeah, we got you now.
Now, at Constance Anthony, like you said, high school, around high school, you were kind of, how can I say, the tough guy.
I heard tough guy. That's all. That's all. You're still cutting out a little bit there, Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I heard back when you were in school, you were kind of the tough guy, the badass, and everything. Now, was that just born into you, or you just had that mindset that
Well, I'm the youngest of 2 older brothers, right? So I always had like kind of the, you're always trying to constantly show off to your older siblings a little bit, right? And playing sports, I always was able to get attention whenever I laid someone out, or in lacrosse, if I fought someone, I would get attention for that, right? So I figured, hey man, one way to get attention from people, or one way to get respect from people, was to throw fists. So yeah, from, I would say, I don't know, 16 to 20, I got into more than one fist fight, and I wasn't heading down a very good path, I would say. But yeah, I never even considered myself as a tough guy. I was just always willing to fight somebody, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
But that's what I love about you, because knowing you now, I wouldn't even picture that you were that dude, that that was ready to go to fisticuffs at any moment. You know, I never picture you. I mean, because you're so laid back and you just want to have fun all the time. But it was a period in your life, but the fists were prominent.
They were, yes.
Well, I filmed, being the audio video nerd, I filmed one of his lacrosse games. I think it was like the last lacrosse game, and their team Chilliwack was already known for like being pretty scrappy, and they did like a bench clearing brawl with the other team, and then Anth edited it together and he posted it online, and the video went viral a couple times. The Lacrosse Association in BC would actually pull that video and use it in coaching seminars on like how to not lose control of a game. So a lot of rules were changed from, but from that game, he ended up getting onto like a junior A team for lacrosse as like a fighter, but they didn't know he could actually play. So they put him on the team to just be their goon. And then they realized they had a little fucking stud in there, little someone who could actually dangle the ball a little bit. But yeah,
I thought only hockey had goons. So you think lacrosse has goons?
So Chris, it's different. So actually a thing with Canada's national sport, they have two. They have hockey, which is the winter national sport, and then the summer national sport is box lacrosse. So it's different. It's different than what field lacrosse is for you guys. It's actually played in a hockey arena with pretty much like hockey gear on, but there's no ice. You're on your feet. And it's actually it's starting to expand down into the States a little bit, where there's a bunch of leagues down there. So, but yeah, it wasn't field lacrosse. It was box lacrosse is what I was playing.
Okay. So box lacrosse is actually on a hockey rink. Lacrosse is actually like on the football field.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Okay. We know it's a weird thing. And after, I'll send you, like, you got to check out, like, box lacrosse is probably one of the toughest sports out there, and it's starting to pick up some steam down in the States. And it actually should be a bigger sport, because it's one of my favorite sports to watch, because it's still
a lot of scoring.
There's a lot of scoring. There's fighting. There's hits, and it still doesn't have that, like, they're not trying to pussify it yet, which is nice.
When I was in secondary school, we used to have, because our team at the intermediate level, you could fight without getting suspended or really ejected. Like, you could fight and get a penalty. So like, you had teenagers who wanted to go out on like a Friday night, and our games happened to be on a Friday night. So when I was growing up, everybody would like show up to our games because they knew guys would there would be a bunch of fights. And the fighting in lacrosse is like guys just taking their helmets off and throwing their gloves down, and then
street fighting.
And then it's just a street fight. Like, it's just, it was crazy that you would and now I think they've changed the rules. And this was in like this is like maybe 2001 to 2002, 2000-ish era. So it wasn't I mean, it was 20 some odd years ago, but that's how, and people would drink in the parking lot. They drink inside the stands because there was like no security. It was just like a rec kind of league. So that's kind of how we grew up. And then you'd go to a house party, or you'd go to like by the river and burn a couple pallets like a bunch of hillbillies and drink some beer. You actually had made you drink the beer, kokanee.
Yeah, you had a kokanee. Yeah, that's right.
Some kokanees.
Hey, and ooh, I think I had several of them.
You did have several.
Yeah, a couple kokanees. You cracked them because you had them.
Cracked them because you had them.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Adam, let's get into the family, man. Let's get into the family. I mean, you got two beautiful boys, man. We know Riker plays ball. Does Maverick play?
He's a gamer. He's really into basketball, but like video games is kind of where he likes to spend most of his time. And like, we grew up playing video games, so I'm not one of those parents who's like, oh, you can't play video games. You're gonna ruin you. It's like, as long as he's handling his business elsewhere, then he can sesh, and he's pretty good at it. I mean, he beats me, even though that's not a big.
I can't even watch him play, because it's like your brain. It's so crazy how fast his brain is reacting when he's playing. I can't even make sense of what's going on. And I grew up playing video games. Like, it still messes my brain up watching him play. Oh, did we lose Chris?
Hey, so welcome to the bros.
Welcome to the Bro Show.
Welcome to the Bro Show.
I'm surprised we don't have a show called the Bro Show.
The Bro Show the Bro Show with a guest AJ.
Yeah, guesting with AJ. Did we lose him?
I don't know. I mean,
And are we still on?
well, it says it's still live here.
So I guess we just need to talk. We'll just hold the show together. Well,
so
I'm gonna get another crack.
Get another crack. Well, I'll have another crack'em too. And for those of you who want to know what a crack'em if you got him is, it doesn't have to be anything
other than something that is in a can.
Yeah, any type of cran. I find that I still find that when I double there, even if I'm not drinking alcohol and I crack a drink like a bubbly or a pop or something, I'm still saying crack.
Oh yeah, if I'm drinking a bubbly, soda water, a Coke Zero.
Do you get it where someone else cracks a drink and
you're
just like crack me if you got him?
I say that at work all the time. So
they're
like,
they're like, what's
crack me if you got
crack
him?
me if you got him. So Chris was asking me. Oh, there he is. Hey, Chris, welcome back to
your show.
To my own show. Welcome back.
Are you in Denver or Arlington right now?
See, I'm in Arlington, okay, because I'm using a those little wireless Wi-Fi things because I'm never here. So I don't have a good modem, and I'm on my laptop instead of my desktop. I'm sorry, guys.
That's
my own show. I get kicked off my own shot.
We held it together. Don't worry.
That's the best thing with StreamYard, though. Like, you went down and the show went on. When we use OBS for our show, so if something happens to the computer, it shuts our stream down. And so we've contemplated changing over to StreamYard, but have everything kind of built out in OBS, so we let it go. So that was nice that you had problems, and it's like, hey, the show still goes on, and
hey,
worry about it.
Hey, that's why we're brothers, man. You can take over whenever you want. That's how it goes. But I know we were talking about Maverick and Ryder. So now, Ryder, man, when I met him, I tell you, man, I instantly fell in love with this kid. I mean, instantly, he just has that persona, like, yeah, bro, my name Ryder. I'm that guy, and then you'll see him every once in a while pop in on y'all when y'all doing a live broadcast of the game and everything.
He threw his hand in here. He put a wig on and he was trying to pop in.
I seen you give him the no.
I was like, because it was like in the middle of Ant was saying something. So I was like, but he had like a wig on. He's shirtless. He wants to photobomb it. But yeah, he because he's into football, he's really, I try to get, I think Mav's the only one who hasn't been converted over to being a Cowboy. Like we bought him shirts. We have like he never will wear it. Like he'll wear his Cowboys CanFan shirt sometimes, but he doesn't care about football. Riker is all about football right now. So like everything he has more Dallas. I feel like he has more Dallas Cowboy stuff than myself. He gets a lot of shit from anybody in his league when he comes, because he'll go to practice wearing full blown Cowboy stuff, and at least he can ball a little bit, so he can back up his outfit. If he was a terrible player and then he was wearing Cowboys, he'd be getting ripped on big time. But he just actually he's actually in flag right now, and he's quarterback. He's a starting quarterback for his team, awesome. Which is a little different from his cornerback from last year.
Hey, two-way athlete.
But like our mom's now a big Cowboy fan. Our brother is a Cowboys fan. My wife is all wearing Cowboys fan. Like, and we always say it's a rite of passage when you're out in public wearing Cowboy gear and you get shit from another team or not person who's a fan of another team.
I love it.
And you go at it with them. That's like, you've just stepped through your rite of passage to become a Cowboy fan.
I love it. You got to take it. You got to take the good times with the bad. Like because when the Cowboys are good, I let people know they're good, and when they lose, I'm always waiting for those a million messages that I'm going to get, and I love it.
Now, Anthony, I know you're not married, but you got a girl. Y'all been together a long time. Have the mom ever been putting pressure on you about you having the grandkids for her?
Oh yeah, both sides are giving us pressure. They're both want us to pop. And luckily, brother Adrian, his wife's just popped one out, so that bought me a little bit of time. So bandwagon Baba can have a little bit of baby frenzy for a while. But yeah, I wouldn't really say pressure, just more so like, of course they want to see us have kids, right?
Well, and the two things with Bessie's, we produce boys. And we're very potent, so we know it's not. We know there's nothing wrong underneath the hood. Okay?
Did you check? Did you check personally?
Yes,
I checked personally. How close we are right now. I just wanted to make sure.
Welcome to the Bro Show.
Earmuffs,
Hey,
mom, if he's watching, earmuffs, mom.
yeah, earmuffs, mom. Yeah. So, because I was like, I met your girl. She's beautiful, man. I was just like, everybody's family is so wonderful up here, man. Everybody's so damn friendly. You know how y'all said I have Texas hospitality, but now it's a different in Canada too, man. Y'all more close to Texas than Texan people sometimes. Because we got a lot of transplants now. You notice that now. It's not a lot of people just from Texas. And when we moved to Colorado, I realized that too. I said, man, this state is really not friendly. And then I realized,
Really?
hey, there's nobody from Colorado here. Everybody's from, I mean, literally everybody's either from California, Texas, or New York. And it's just weird. I was just like, man. And then when you actually meet somebody that's actually from Colorado, they're super sweet, super nice. But everybody else, they're like, man, we ain't from here. We ain't speaking to you. We don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's funny
We
you
could
say that
care less.
because brother Adrian went down to Denver one time and he said he didn't really like it. He said the people there weren't very friendly. So that's funny. You've
Yeah.
also now are a second person now that lives there that's backing that claim. But you're saying it's because most of the people that you're talking to down there,
Transplant.
they're from bigger cities or other parts of the states. And that kind of sucks because and I just want to touch on Texas a little bit. Whenever I go down to Texas, I find that everybody's super nice. Like, I don't know. I find that maybe it's because we're hanging out with Cowboys fans. So we have a common interest and, we've met you and we always get to go over to your place for a barbecue. So it feels almost like a second home away from home. And I haven't, and knock on wood, had a bad experience in Texas or in Dallas or Fort Worth yet. So I enjoy going down there and I find it very hospitable.
Well, now that you bring that, because we are pretty outgoing and we're pretty loud and we're pretty like
at the games we're maniacs.
But even
we are maniacs at football games.
Even outside of games or just like around, like we talk to everybody. We're not like scared, I guess you could say. And so when people are like, oh, you guys are on the streets and you're doing all this stuff, like Alex and I after the game were wrestling and stuff, and it's like we're not even thinking. We feel like we're still in a safety net of like Canada. Because how like we haven't had a really bad experience in Texas yet or anywhere we've gone actually on these trips.
No, I have a great time anytime we're going down to the States.
Man, let's get into how the CanFan became the CanFan. Now, as my understanding, it was Anthony first being a Cowboy fan, and then that's how the name the Bandwagon Boys came because you brought them in. Anthony, this question is directed to you, brother. How did you find the Cowboys? How did you fall in love with the Cowboys, man, that made you become this Canadian Cowboys super fan? What happened, man, that made the Cowboys show up on your radar?
So I would say the NFL started getting really big in Canada probably NFL Network ad. Hey, once NFL Network came out, you got that exposure, like a lot of exposure. We finally got to see stuff about the draft, and you had a channel that you could literally tune into NFL football all the time. At the same time, Adam and I had both started playing fantasy football. I had watched football occasionally before that, but I would say for me, diehard, like as a fan, my first year actually watching football and like picking a team was the year that Bledsoe got replaced by Tony Romo. And we were still at the point where you couldn't watch every single game. So you could only watch games that networks put on, like the big networks. The Cowboys were on every week, right? They were on every single week. So I got to watch Tony Romo basically come from an undrafted guy, third string player, to playing for the biggest franchise ever, right? Like it was a Cinderella story for Tony Romo. And that's when I latched onto them. But I also kind of think back to being even younger than that when early 90s, I was between the Cowboys Super Bowl runs, I was like between 6 and 10, and they were always on TV also. So anytime you ever saw anything about football, it was the Dallas Cowboys. So then once I got to a teenager, young adult, and the Cowboys again are starting to get good, I just kind of sunk my teeth into them. And I watched every single game pretty much since 2005, 2006. I probably haven't missed a game, to be honest.
Which is weird because even though he was a fan of the Cowboys, like I never was like, oh, Ant's a diehard. This is me being a bandwagon boy. Because we used to get like NFL Sunday Ticket when the NFL Network came out and you could get Sunday Tickets, so you could get all the games. Like we had it I probably it was like maybe the last year of my high school, or maybe the year after I got out, where we would spend Sundays watching multiple games, and then we were getting into fantasy football. We'd also play our own Madden league where we would draft, like Alex was there, and then we had a couple of other buddies that were in this league, and we would draft our own teams, and then we would do tournaments and a season as our own drafted team, like made up teams with real players, and we'd Excel document all the stats. Actually, WayJ, stat boy, he would actually, we would, at the end of the game, you would track all the stats, and it was like a big process because we were just like we were all just getting really into football. But I never, as you were going through something, man, I can't ever remember me being like, oh, Ant's a diehard Cowboys fan, even though you were always a Cowboy fan. I don't remember where.
Well, it's probably because, well, one, social media wasn't around at the time, so you don't see anything outside of the couple hours I see you a week. But then, as far as CanFan goes, I started an Instagram meme account for CanFan. I think it was 2013 or 2014, and kind of posted a little bit and didn't really have any traction because it wasn't really a thing yet. Like nobody had been doing that. And then during COVID, I started kind of posting again and getting a little bit of traction, and I was watching games, and I actually started doing the podcast in my kitchen just as a way to I just wanted to make more content or have like video clips for my Instagram page. That was all I wanted to do. That was it. I essentially wanted to be able to just kind of add another avenue to my Instagram account. And that was in 2020.
Yep.
And then that off season from 2020 going into 2021, Adam had mentioned that him and Alex were they wanted to start producing a podcast, and they basically wanted to piggyback off of me. I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, but he's not wrong. Like when you started seeing during COVID all these podcasts popping up, I'm like I know how to sell sponsorship time if I could get like a network of people. This is what in my mind. And I didn't want to put a lot of effort into something. I just wanted to be able to use my technical abilities to like have other people do it, and have something that we could that someone could step in, and then when they're done, they're done. So I was like, I need to have like a flagship show. And I know if anybody was going to stick with it through like the shitty times of growing a podcast, as you know, like Chris, Ant is the guy who will stick with it. So he's not going to be discouraged if he's only getting 5 views an episode for a year. Like he's just going to stick with it. We could learn the ropes, start to kind of establish a business, and then I could go out and I could bring on other shows. And then from that, once we start to kind of generate views, I'd then go and sell like network sponsorship for the network. And that was like my plan. But I was like, so okay, great, let's start it with Ant. And then from that, we just realized, holy shit, it takes a lot of work if you really want to make it successful. Alex and I, because Alex basically grew up at our house growing up. Him and I have been best friends since we were like 12, and we're 40 this year. So, and he knows football, and we all three of us just have a good chemistry together. We're like, okay, well, we'll be the producers for Ant's show. And we'll we'll give him content so that if we're ribbing a Cowboys fan, we'll be the other side, the other perspective, kind of like what you see on other shows that were happening. So we thought that was the formula, but
that didn't happen.
It didn't happen. After 6 months of like every day talking about it, you just slowly kind of get, acclimated to it. And I felt I've been a free agent in football, all my football watching days since I was like 18. That I'm like, I feel like I want to plant my flag and say, I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of this team here. So that's kind of how I came in.
The funny thing with that is I'm so glad, because you guys could have went the opposite way. You guys could have put your foot down and being like, we're just going to be anti-Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it would have, oh, look at this.
The granddaughter came in, man, and she didn't want to leave. I was just like, go. And now you see the lips. She's been eating snow cones.
Hi.
I'll go get
Say hi to Anthony and Adam. All right, well, bye.
If you're not going to produce, or if you're not going to make content, get out of here.
Yeah, get on out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, but we don't see them often, so whenever we're in Texas, we grab them. But anyway, now I wanted to get back to this, man, because I love y'all's content. Okay, I came across the Can Fan. I'm scrolling because I wasn't a big YouTuber. Okay, I wasn't until I joined the Cowboy Huddle with Garrett. So then I started paying more attention to cowboy content on YouTube. So I'm scrolling through, and I heard this saying, "Crack 'em if you got 'em." And it just grabbed me. I was like, "Shit, where's my beer?" I'm like, "Damn it, they're partying, they're having a good time." You know, how did the phrase "crack 'em in the got 'em" become your staple, man? Because I'm telling you, everybody that watch your show or follow you guys, that's the first thing they say to you is "crack 'em if you got 'em." Who
So
started that?
we had to pay Riker $20 to find out when it actually was like the first initiate. So he found out it was from a show where we were starting the show, we were doing our intros, and my brother-in-law, UKC, who's been on the show a few times, he cracked a drink, and Alex said, "Okay, crack him if you got him." And it was just like this off saying that Alex did. And literally, I think from that moment, anytime someone cracked a drink, we all just started to say, which naturally is kind of what the three of us will do. Like if someone says something that sounds somewhat catchy,
We'll repeat it. We'll just repeat it. And that just kind of, and it's fun. It's fun. Not only is it fun to drink,
Yeah.
it's fun to see when you crack a drink open. So it just sticks. It naturally sticks when you do it. So it was a total off the cuff. It was never planned. J just basically said it one time. And then I think even the next show, someone else might have said it, and then it kind of stuck.
Yeah, like it was one of those things where it felt like we were born with it, so no one knew how, or it was like, oh, who came up with that person's nickname? It's like, I came up with that person's nickname. And they're like, no, I came up with that person's name. Well, who came up with? Well, we had proof. AJ was the first person who said it.
AJ was the first crack. He had the first crack 'em ever, or he said it at least. He coined the phrase. And you know what? He's actually trying. The reason he's not on is because we're in a very big legal battle right now. He is taking us to court over the same.
Yeah, they're joking. But man, hey man, that's what I loved about your show when I came across it. You guys are having fun. You know, you can see some cowboy content is always serious. It's always X's and O's. It's always about the video you can show or whatever. But what I loved about you guys, you know how we had the term down here, barbershop talk. You guys were having pub talk, meaning it's just like y'all were sitting at the bar, you know, talking about the Cowboys and enjoying it. And then one time I watched a simulcast where you guys, what's up, Super Cowboy?
Cowboy,
you guys were simulcasting the game, but you wouldn't show the game because you know they'll boot you off if you do that. But you guys were drinking and you were talking about the game, and I was like, I freaking love this format. So what made y'all start simulcasting the games?
Well, so the form. Okay, so
that was this guy's idea. I will take that. That was Tony Montana over here's idea.
So when we started the whole idea, because we're all like busy, we wanted to make sure we had our setup was all done to make sure that we would start a show and end a show without having to do any type of post-production. We didn't even think about live streaming.
Yeah, live stream wasn't our first. So our first, like, I'd say before the 2021 season, we were doing, like, we'd do a show like this, like we were doing a show, but it was never live. It was never a live stream. And then Adam would basically just take that and put it on the internet. So just before the week 1 game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, we did one. We experimented because we're like, oh, I wonder if we could actually do. Because I was always at the time I was looking into it. I was like, I think we could probably like live stream an episode, like one of our regular shows, and just see how it is. Like, we see other people kind of doing it. Let's try it out. So we tried it out once. And then we're like, we're going to be watching the game. Let's just live stream an episode of the game. But if you go back to the Tampa Bay game in 2021,
the ads getting confused. The live stream of the game came before the live stream of episodes.
Are you sure?
100%. So all we said is we were gonna be watching the game. We were gonna watch the game no matter what, right? So we're like, well, we should just live stream us watching the game. The Tampa Bay game, all we did is we sat there and
we didn't talk.
We didn't talk. We just basically just watch the game. And then we were like, okay, well, what we should actually do is get mics. And week 2, we should talk while the game goes on.
Well, we had the mic. We were just like, let's talk into the mics. I think there was one point during that game that you guys would kind of.
We started talking into it, but like the season opener, we didn't do much. I was like, well, it'll give us our reactions to big plays. And then after that, week 2 of the 2021 season, we've live streamed every single game since then. Because it is a great way to watch a football game. It's not only is it great for us to watch a game, but it's fun because we get to interact with a bunch of other Cowboys fans while doing it.
I mean, that's what I love about it, man, because like I said, it's just like you being at the bar with your guys watching the game together, right? And, you know, I just like one time I was actually I was traveling. I had to leave early, right? And the game wasn't over, even though we were winning. I said, I know where I can get commentary. I turned it on, right? And now we're in the car, me and my wife, and she said, who are you listening to? I said, man, it's my buddies from Canada. That's before she met you guys, right? And she was just like, they're talking about the game, watching the game. I said, baby, it's the greatest thing ever. I said, we're already winning. They're exciting. And then when I think somebody scored a touchdown, or no, it was an interception, and then y'all broke out the shots. And I was like, damn it, I could have been there, or I should have been taking shots with them, because your show is truly interactive, you know, during the game. Because when y'all crack them and take shots, I do too.
Hell yeah.
I got me a problem. So,
you know,
man.
And Chris, here's the thing. Here's the one thing that we can say, anybody who's watching our show, they're not going to have as good of a time as we are in this room. But we want them to think that they can have as good of a time by being part of it, where they can comment and crack it or shotgun on their own. But guarantee, I think that with the 3 of us, because when there's with one of us going somewhere else, it's like, yeah, we'll have a good time. But if we know that, if I know he's around or AJ's around, like I know we're automatically going to have a great time no matter what we're doing. So I think our show's predicated on us just having a good time, regardless, that I don't think anybody else can kind of match. And then add the game element, like you said, getting Ant's reactions to like that first season that we did, where like you could see if we lost a game, it's like, yeah, it sucks that we lost a game, but like in my mind and AJ's mind, we're trying to still produce a show. Ant can't even fucking talk if the Cowboys lost. And now the fast forward 2.5 years later, it's like we lose. It's like, I don't even fucking want to do it.
It's funny, man. I will say this.
Episode.
It's actually went the opposite way, whereas having Adam and Alex post game after a loss actually makes it easier for me now. And for them, I can see it's harder for them now. So like we're on these different trajectories because the first season we were live streaming, it was hard when the Cowboys got down or they were playing bad. I had a hard time even talking because I was so pissed off. Where now I'm like, I can talk my way through it. And where Adam and Alex used to be joking around while the Cowboys are losing, now they're full into it. Like
we got yelled at too many times from Anth. You can't fucking joking around with
or talking about something unrelated during a play.
Okay, yeah, get it.
Yeah, talk about it at the commercial break.
Well, the weird thing is I have a hard time watching football without Anth calling. Like if Ant's not calling the play when it's going on, it's like I can't focus anymore. And even when we're not watching Cowboy games and we're streaming a different one, I'm like, Ant, you got to start. He's like, I just want to watch the game. I'm like, no, you have to fucking tell what's going on. Like I can't watch the game without you doing your usual routine.
The spiel.
So he's your Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, huh?
Yeah. Just very R-rated Joe Buck and Aikman.
Well, then Chris, that's the other thing that with us too, we have this like, and Alex kind of came up with, like Alex is pretty quick on his feet in terms of coming up with sayings or things like uncensored and intoxicated, like that. When we're doing our stuff, we're not playing to the YouTube algorithm. We're drinking, AJ's vaping, we're swearing, like we're doing everything that's possible to not have your show get pushed through the algorithm. We find if we get content that kind of goes through YouTube. I mean, I guess on all the other platforms we see like massive numbers, and YouTube this past year we've seen some pretty big jump in our content, but like we're very much like we're not family friendly, so they don't push. I mean, we feel like we're family friendly. We just fucking swear.
We swear a bit.
So it
and drink.
drink.
Now, just to clarify, you guys did start in 2020 or 2021 when did y'all first
2021 March. It's actually been our 3-year. It was our 3-year CanFan anniversary.
Together.
Yes, just a week ago. So when I think about CanFan, I like the YouTube section of it. I think of it with Adam and Alex involved. Like I'd been running my the Instagram prior to that for a year or two prior to that. But I don't even think of that as being CanFan. That was actually, I had it as Dallas Cowboys CanFan. So we got rid of the Dallas Cowboys CanFan. CanFan's been around since March 2021. We started in the off season, which I think was a great idea because, again, like Ad said, nobody was watching us. We were just showing up in a room and talking football in the off season. And I knew if Adam and Alex could make it through an off season of doing this, as soon as you get to the season, it's on cruise control essentially because there's so much stuff happening, right?
Well, man, y'all had some accomplishments since then, brother. When you got 15,000 subscribers for your YouTube account, and you guys were just starting, really just bullshitting around and just watching football, and you guys found a niche. And I say I love different content creators. That's why I started conversation with Chris in the off season, so we get to know the content creators and how it started and everything like that. And it started because one person had a passion for the game. Then you got brothers, because AJ's your brother too. So brothers who hey man, they're ride or die. And next thing you know, you got Cowboy CanFan. That's not just a Canadian thing, not an American thing. It's an international thing. We got friends all over the world that you've had on your show. Man, how does it feel, man, that knowing that you're not done yet, but just the accomplishments you've done in those few years? How do you feel about that, bro?
It's actually kind of it feels like an unquenched thirst.
Yeah,
honestly, like I just always want, like, you hit 15,000 and it's awesome, or you hit 10,000 and it's like instantly we hit 10,000. It was like, okay, it was no 20,000, 30,000. It's like our next goal is 100K. That's our next goal. Like, let's set the bar high. We as a crew, as Adam, Alex, and myself, we've put in goals for ourselves, right? And they're pretty hefty goals, but we're planning on hitting them. And we know, and this is going to sound a little, what's the word? I'm not trying to brag, but I know our personalities. I know Adam and Alex are super likable guys. I sit there and laugh at shit they say. Like, they say the funniest stuff. And I know that if I think it's personally funny, there's a million people out there that are going to think they're funny, right? So it's something like that I know the more we do, the more subscribers we get, it's going to push us to a bigger audience. And that's what excites me, is just getting pushed to a bigger audience, because it's crazy. Like, we were down at the SoFi game and we had people recognizing us us. And it's a weird thing, right? But it's like, and the like you said, the first thing they'll do is crack them if you got them. And it's like, man, these guys are they're just like us. They just want to have a couple beers and talk Cowboys football. And it's awesome.
This year was the one where it felt like, oh, we hit a certain level where people were recognizing us, that from watching the show. We went with you. We went to the Des Bryant tailgate party, and there's people in there be like, man, I watch you guys all the time. Can I get a picture? And it's like, all right, cool. Yeah, obviously. Am I not supposed to be as drunk as I am right now? Like, am I supposed to? But I mean, you see us on the show. We're not any different in real life. We're
not at all.
No, do not put up any type of face when we're on the show. We are exactly how we are when you meet us in person.
And I can definitely vouch for that, man. I mean, because when we met the first time, it was just like we've known each other for years, Yep. And my wife said, you have this thing about you that you can find friends anywhere. And I was just like, honey, we got a common interest. And I'm like this: good people are good people. It don't matter where you're from, what race you are. If you're good people, you're good people. And to me, I think I just got that sense of somebody being good. And when I met you guys, AJ included, and I was just like, man, I can hang out with them every day, all day. I'm sure I wouldn't have a liver, but hey, other than that, hey, it's wonderful. we got the joke in the African American community. Said, man, you always got to have a white friend if you want to get fucked up. So they said white guys know how to party.
Well, I mean, look, man, like the fact when we went down to the draft and we like because Anth handles the Instagram. Anth is like very diligent. Like I don't even touch. Like I would say 1 out of every 100 Instagram posts, it'll be like, oh, maybe try this, whether or not he takes it or not. But like he's very diligent on posting. If you're looking at Instagram, it's all Anth. 99
very consistent. Very consistent.
Yeah. Consistent on all the platforms. Consistency is king. And I think because there's 3 of us, we're able to separate the workload. So that's been helpful. But Anth gets the chance to interact with everybody. So in the early days of CanFan, just 3 years ago or 2 years ago, he was like talking to Armando and he's talking to Squeaky G Man and
Dallas Cowboys
Chris. So when we go down and we get the chance and I get a chance to be like, well, you're talking to these people and they've seen our stuff. It was like, it's nice to meet other like-minded people who are kind of doing the same thing. Like we're all trying to, find our way in this content creation. We're all nothing's petty with any of us either. It's not like, fuck, Cowboys Chris has got a video that did really, really well and but fuck him. It's all like, dude, this is awesome. How can we all help each other out? So I think that's probably been one of those side things that have been like very encouraging with this whole process. Like, because there's 3 of us, we don't rely on guests and we're fine just up here in Canada talking about the Cowboys, but it was like a very welcome surprise for us to know that there's other people out there that we could be on their show. They can come on our show. And it's like when we see you guys, when we go on a trip or when you come up here, it's like we have years and years of friendship that's just been there because we're all in the same kind of like-minded path. It's been very, very awesome.
Do you guys feel you guys are more popular in the States or in Canada?
States, 100%.
Yeah, like I don't even tell people up here that I really do this. To be honest. Yeah, really? I mean, people like our close, like anyone that needs to know or that I care about knowing knows, right? Yeah. But it's like I don't really post on my own personal accounts very rarely, unless it's something that's super funny and needs to be seen. But I kind of keep it separate from that, and you can just see with our metrics, it's the States. By
99.8% of our fans are from the United States of America.
Wow.
Unless it's I was going to say the 10% of Bandwagon Baba watching all of our stuff. Like that's
yeah.
Riley D, I'll be in California soon, brother. Yeah, man.
I wanted to say one thing about you. You've had some heavy hitters on your conversations with Chris. You've had 21 Armando 21, who's everyone know is a TikTok star. You've had the draft magician himself, Jay Tuck. You said we were episode 4. Who was
Squeaky? Squeaky was number 1.
I didn't catch that. Must be because he's a Giants fan.
Yeah. Well, I wanted everybody to know that it was going to be more than just a cowboy show.
For sure.
Okay. Because it's just going to be a content creator show.
Yep. Yeah. And he's diehard too. He's always posting.
So next week I got a diehard Texans fan coming up. So, and then the week after that, I got a diehard Eagle fan. Okay. So, I'm trying to just, because my whole thing is content creators. They know us as Dallas Cowboy Chris. They don't know me as Christopher Lee. They don't know you as Adam and Anthony Bessie. They don't know you guys like that. So I created a conversation with Chris so we can get a little bit more personal behind the scenes and everything. So when I went up to the Chilliwack, I went up to Chilliwack for one reason. Well, first of all, to hang out with my buddies. I knew I was going to have a great time. But I wanted to see the behind the scenes of the CanFan, man. And the setup these guys got, the way your production, everybody has a role in the show, okay? And that's what I love, man. It's such a team. And when we started the Cowboy podcast, once we kind of broke off from the Cowboy Huddle, shout out to G, the number 1 Cowboy fan, Hampton, always much love. But when we broke off and we had our own thing, and the first thing I told the guys when we decided to do the Cowboy podcast, I say, look, I'm not the leader. We're just a part of a team. Okay. That's it. That's all. Everybody has the access to the account. They can get it on when they want. They can do whatever they want. And it was actually Mikey's idea of conversation with Chris. He said, "Man, you guys, man, you got a good rapport with just about everybody. Everybody likes you. So why don't you do a show?" And I was like, "Mike, I don't know if anybody would be interested." Now we're at episode number 4. And like you said, I had some people, man, I didn't think that would agree to do conversations. And when I just shot a text and y'all were like, "Fuck yeah." You know, and I appreciate it, man. It's just the love that you guys show to me and to all the Cowboy fans down here, man. I greatly appreciate it, you know.
Man, we appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
You didn't have to do it. So for that, we're gonna do this.
Yes, crack him if you got him, son. Let's go.
Let's go.
Pushing it. Pushing it on Easter Sunday. I like it.
Exactly, man. I'm going light though. I'm going light. I'm doing these White Claws today.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Hey, man, we do seltzer. They're
called nudes.
That might be one of the biggest things you see of us. We're drinking, but they are seltzers. We drink seltzers.
Listen, our alcohol, the percentage is the same.
Yeah, it's still 5%.
But hey, if you want to fuck around and find out, like we'll crack some beers.
If anybody wants
some shots,
if
like,
anybody ever wants to do a case challenge where you find find 3 guys, I have my guys, I have Adam and Alex, and this is the thing, you have to shotgun every single one.
Yeah,
we'll outcase anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was a shotgun virgin till you guys came down to the man cave.
We got your shotgun.
We gotta find that footage. We still want to edit a video of the first time we went to the Cowboys.
Well, so we started, like, that's one of the things that we've been doing a little bit on Aussies, and Ant's been kind of spearheading it. Like we do all these trips, and like there's so much footage that doesn't get posted because during the season you kind of have to post it during the week or else it's irrelevant. And then it's like, well, so we have stuff from that first Thanksgiving trip, because this is like our annual trip now. We do every year. We go down to Arlington and we see the Cowboys play on Thanksgiving game. So that first year that we came down with you, like that's a whole episode that we'll post. Like we just posted an AT&T tour that we did. So over the next,
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. That was
cool. A couple of oldies will come out, and some evergreen content, as we like to say, will hit. But we have you shotgunning from the cave, and we'll have
Chris's eyes got this big the first time he shotgunned the eyeballs.
I tell you, that's why you need white friends to do things you've never done before. hey, the brothers, we're gonna sip and we're gonna enjoy our beer or whatever it is. You know, the other guys, they're gonna bring it straight to your blood system real quick. Freaking awesome, though.
As you were saying brothers there for a second, I thought, is he talking about us that we're sipping? Like,
no, you are not a brother.
No, I'm not a brother.
This my brother. You know. Hey, even though y'all are my brothers, y'all know that. You know that. Hey, you got to be related, man. When you let the big fella sleep on your couch, man, it's pretty awesome. Man. You know.
Well, I felt bad that I didn't have like a bed or something out here. I was like, no, you're like, no, I'll sleep on the couch. I was like, shit, dude.
It was comfortable, bro. I grew up in the hood. Hell, if we slept over somebody's house, normally it was on a hard floor. So that couch is luxury.
Hey, I sleep down on that couch. I'll fall asleep in that theater room a lot of the times. And so whenever anyone comes over and I'm like, oh, you want? I was like, trust me, this Ant slept on there.
Oh yeah, I've slept on there many times.
It's and then that room is like, it's this not a sleep deprivation. It's like
it's pitch black. Like there's no light coming in there at all. It's you're getting a good sleep. Yeah. You're getting a good sleep.
Only request I got for the next time I come up to Chilliwack, we're gonna have to consolidate the remote controls. Here, you got like 12 of them. I don't know which one goes to what. I'm playing with it. I was like, I messed up and changed the channel by accident. I couldn't get back to where I was going. I said, do I need to go up these flight of stairs and say, man, can you come down and change these channels for me?
Hey, I would have done it.
I was like, God, why does he have all these damn remotes? And
Adam's always had a million remotes. It's always been, even when we lived together as kids and he was like, 17, 18, 19, he always had It felt like 5 remotes. It's like, dude, I just want to switch to the PlayStation. How do I get to the PlayStation?
The problem is
Exactly.
I have a really expensive, it's older, it's the one remote there, but because I've updated stuff and I haven't added it to that remote, you have to have multiple remotes.
Wow.
Yeah, you're not the only one that's had issues, Chris. Don't worry.
Man. All right. Now I want to get into a little cowboy football. to
Okay.
y'all. Okay. I want y'all opinion. Normally on these shows, I try not to go to football, but it's been such a hot topic about our starting quarterback. Okay. Y'all know my opinion. I was on y'all show last week, and then from the Instagram post, man, I was just like, it is really a lot of people don't like their starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I was just really shocked at all the negativity about Dak Prescott in the comments. What is y'all stance on Dak Prescott? And this is the only football conversation we're gonna have today.
That's
What
fine.
are y'all stance about Dak Prescott?
Top 5 quarterback, man. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And if you don't want to top 5 quarterback on your team, then I don't know what's gonna make you happy. I just don't understand it. I haven't even had to live through the Cowboys having a bad quarterback, but I was also the guy that was always a huge Tony Romo fan. And when you had the favorite football player, Tony Romo is a very, very, very close third to Sean Lee and Des Bryant.
I was surprised that you said
They're,
Sean Lee
like-
and Dez.
like-
I thought you were gonna say Romo.
Like Romo's my guy. Like Romo, Ad knows if I'm going onto an away game, if I'm going to any away stadium, I'm more than likely rocking my Romo jersey. Like that's just what I'm doing because the guy got so much shit on him. And I feel like it's the same with Dak Prescott. He gets just as much shit, if not more. I think he's a better quarterback than even Tony Romo was at this point of his career. 8 years into his NFL career, I think Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Tony Romo. And that's saying a lot for me. I'm worried we are going to move on from him and he's going to go to his next team and win a Super Bowl. That's what we're going to end up seeing.
Yeah,
All right, Adam.
I didn't have to live through the years of bad quarterbacks like Anth, but like he said, who else? I'm not now rebuilding from the ground up with a new quarterback. I don't think I like in the moment when something, maybe a star player's we're talking about getting a star player over or some sort of big move happens, but like your quarterback, like we were drunk that one game and I said Dak's not that guy, and then the next day you're like, well, there is no one else. So
that was post play. Whatever you say 10 minutes after a playoff loss, you can just erase that. That's fine. Like we were all saying blow that the last 2 years at least, we were saying blow up the team. So don't feel faulted for that. Everybody thought that.
And everyone thinks that when we say Dak, like Dak's the quarterback, who else you're going to get? And you're talking about the other quarterback. We're not against the fact of like taking another quarterback in a draft or having somebody else on the team that you're going to start shaping 3-4 years from now. But like, what are we doing here? Any other team, like there's so many other teams that would take Dak Prescott tomorrow and pay him more than what he's making on the Cowboys.
Right.
Because they know what it's like to have a shitty quarterback.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, what people don't understand is they'll say, no, I'm willing to have a bad team to then get.
No, you're not.
You're not. You're not. People aren't willing to have a bad year to get the first overall pick. And then that's not even a guaranteed. So there will be people, and that's their main argue point is, well, I'm okay with having a bad season as long as we get a good quarterback. You're not. I know the type of people saying that aren't those type of people. So,
yeah, because I brought up to a Cowboy fan the other day. I said, so are you prepared to go 5-12, 5-12, 5-12 for the next 3 years? Or do you want to go 12-5, 12-5, 12-5? Which one do you want? And but if we get better, I'm like, no, because Cowboy fans are impatient. Yep. They're the most impatient fans in the world, but just because why? Because of the longevity from winning championships. But with them being so impatient and think the grass is always greener on the other side, and I'm like you, Anthony. Hey, if you get rid of him, and then you get you let Trey Lance play or any other quarterback play, and you end up 5-12, you ready to blow up AT&T?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're literally gonna want to blow it up.
And that's how every Cowboys fan is. No one's gonna be like, well, we finished 5-12, we get the first overall pick. That's not how it's going to be. Everyone's going to be like insane. And people actually, even Cowboys fans, for the last I'd say at least 15 years, forget what it's like to have a consecutively bad team. The Cowboys, sure, they've had bad seasons, usually mixed in with injury, but they haven't had consecutive really bad seasons in a long time. So,
and like and you always see, like, I mean, there's so much articles that go around and like this and that. It's like there's so much junk that's kind of fed to Cowboy fans and I mean, and maybe fans in general, but Cowboy fans specifically, with trade rumors and all these other things that you kind of like. It's very hard to stay grounded, I feel. So like, just look at the facts, look at what you have in front of you, and 12-5, 12-5, 12-5. Have we made it? Have we made it further than that? No, we haven't. Have we made it to the show, the Super Bowl? No, we haven't. Have we made it to the championship game yet? No, we haven't. But we're not doing bad. We can do better, but we're not doing bad. And I don't want to be on a team that's doing bad right now. I'm not ready for that.
I'm never ready for that.
I don't want to be drafted in the first 30 minutes of the draft.
No,
that's not me.
Not a good thing. No matter who you're getting, that's not a good thing. And unfortunately, Chris, the way that the Cowboys front office, the Joneses and crew, with what they're doing in this offseason, it might actually seem like they're ready to do that, to let Dak kind of, like, if we're looking at what happens, and we're going to easily be able to tell by this year's draft, but we're going to be able to tell if they are planning on moving on from Dak Prescott next year.
All right. Well, look, let's get back to some fun crap. All right. Look, this season, I know you guys normally do the annual Thanksgiving trip down to Arlington. Do you guys have any other trips planned this season?
Well, so last year we did the split trip. So the year before that, when we did our annual trip, the one year, and we're like, oh man, it would be sweet to do 2 games in 1 week, because we can hit that Sunday game, and then we'll go to the Cowboys Thanksgiving game. So we did the 2022 season. We did the Minnesota game, and then we drove from Minnesota out to Texas, and we did the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. This past year, both W's. Yeah, fuck you,
George W's.
But this last year, it was the Panthers, and the Panthers game was so expensive when we were looking at it. And then we're looking at other games, and it's like, well, fuck this. This Monday nighter at SoFi is pretty good, is a pretty good price. It's cheaper than the Panthers game. And we could go out there and we could hook up with some of our Cali friends, like Boots on the Ground, Eric, Serato. And it's like, man, we could have a really good time. And thankfully we went, and it's like, holy shit, a SoFi Cowboys game is like a home game.
It's crazier than an AT&T Stadium game.
Like the tailgating was the best tailgating that we've had at any of the games that we've gone to so far. The weather was nice, everybody was hyped, and it was just a great environment. So we're like, man, that SoFi game was fucking awesome. So this year we don't know. We're talking about easily doing a West Coast game. So we're talking about possibly going to Cowboys at Frisco, just because it's a West Coast game. But nothing's set in stone yet until we see what the schedule is. You will base it on the schedule in terms of like, okay, well, that Sunday game is a very nice looking game that we could go to, and then go to the Thanksgiving game either by flight or by driving, or the following Thursday game, maybe we do an extended trip that way. So it'll depend on what the schedule looks like, but we talked already about the San Francisco game.
And then we also, last year we went down to training camp. That's also in the works again, to go down to training camp for 3 or 4 practices and just kind of stay the week down on the West Coast. The thing for us is it's just so much cheaper to stay on the West Coast, like flying from Vancouver to LA or even like San Francisco is just so cheap. Compared to us flying to, say, Charlotte. Like, Charlotte was not a cheap flight.
No.
Like, we basically got our Airbnb and tickets for the price that we all would have paid for flights, right? So it's very schedule dependent, and hopefully it lands on, like Ad said, somewhere that we can just go see a game the Sunday before the Thanksgiving Day game and then drive to Texas.
Yeah, I can't wait till the schedule come out, because I'm making my annual pilgrimage to Chilliwack myself.
Yes.
So I figured, I say, hey man, I started something, we might as well continue it, you know. So
and a little bit longer than 24 hours, because then you can come out and you can chop up.
And then I gotta make up for that damn loss too, you know. Hell, I came up there and gave us an L. I don't like that.
If I
Like,
could
cut it
recommend
off.
month, September. September here is beautiful. So if I could recommend a time, September would be the time I would say to you.
Yeah, and then the Cowboys normally are winning in September. So
True.
Right?
they
You know it,
normally
Chris.
are winning. They are, man. Well, look, brother, I got one last segment, man.
Oh, either or.
Either or. This is just 21 questions that I ask, and you basically choose which one you prefer. Okay.
Okay.
So
do we have
I
to
guess
answer
we'll just
either or?
rotate between Adam and Anthony, and we'll just go from here. First question: would you either or first and 10 or fourth and inches?
First and 10.
Fourth and inches.
A first set, a new set of downs. It's easy. You're getting 3 more downs no matter what. Fourth and inches, you might punt it.
Fourth and inches just feels like there's way more on the line. I like to tell.
All right, man to man or zone?
Man to man.
Yeah, I'll go man to man.
Pass
Nope.
or run?
Ooh.
Last year pass.
Yeah, I'm gonna say pass.
Ad's a pass guy.
I'm a pass guy.
Chris, I'm an offensive lineman in the head. You pound the rock whenever you can,
But
but
if I had to pick a position, like if you're like, what position would you want to play? I'd be like running back. So
I'm going running.
I like running, but I want to watch passes.
All right, offense or defense?
Ooh, that's
Ooh.
a tough one.
The Cowboys not so much this year, but the year before, sounds of the sideline, like defense. Actually, even this year too. I like defense for me.
I think having a mean defense is the way to go. So
Yeah.
I'd pick, like, are we talking would we rather watch or have a better of?
It's just either or.
Defense. I've always been defensive minded.
Defense.
Okay.
Defense.
Cheer for or be cheered?
Ooh,
Cheered for.
yeah. Cheered to be cheered.
Yeah, I want someone to cheer for me.
All right. 16-1 or championship?
Oh, easy. Championship.
Yeah, championship.
Ring or Hall of Fame?
Ooh, ring.
Ooh,
Ring.
yeah, ring.
All day, every day.
Yeah, fuck.
Play the game or coach the game?
Ooh,
Play.
I would rather play as well, even though I never did. So fuck you, Chris.
The mountains or the beach?
Oh, that's a tough one because I love both. Living in the
Uh,
mountains and then, that's a tough one.
I would say the beach.
I'm going to go beach also just because we grew up in mountains, but
Yeah.
that's tough.
Car or truck?
Truck, baby. Dodge Ram all day, every day, son.
Truck. My Forerunner's on a truck frame, so I'll say truck.
Grass or turf?
Grass.
Ooh, jinx.
Jinx. You owed me a crack 'em.
Coke.
Indoor or outdoor?
Outdoor.
Outdoor.
TV or movie?
Movie.
I got this Canadian question. Curling or hockey?
Hockey.
I mean, I don't like either, to be honest, but yeah, I'd much watch hockey over curling.
I got into curling for like 2 or 3 times when I was younger. And because my mom did Bandwagon Baba, hopefully she's still watching this because she possibly ruined her son being a star curling player. I didn't get the cool sliding shoes because I wanted the full gear, but you'd have to tape it. Like you had to put masking tape on when you're learning how to play the fucking game
Yeah.
instead of spending all this money on shoes. And because I didn't, I was like, well, I don't have the gear. So fuck this shit.
Out.
No. Thanks
All right.
for losing the Olympic championship there, Bandwagon Baba.
Exactly. Beef or chicken?
Beef.
Chicken.
Really? Interesting.
Tecmo Bowl or Madden?
Madden.
Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
I'm going to go LeBron.
Gretzky or Lemieux?
Gretzky.
Romo or Dak?
Romo.
Ooh. I mean, yeah, I wasn't a fan of the Cowboys during that time, but the play style, I would have been a Romo guy.
This is the thing, and I want to give some backstory on it before we move on, Chris. I've said now the last 2 years, especially when we were in the divisional against the Niners,
Of course, she's watching.
I said if Dak beats the Niners in the divisional, he's now my favorite quarterback, but he didn't. So I'm still with my guy Romo.
All right. Staubach or Aikman?
Ooh, I'd say Aikman because I at least watched some games when Aikman was around.
Just looking at the story of Staubach, I mean, that's a once in a generation type guy, and just knowing his story, I got to go with Staubach.
Tom Landry or Jimmy Johnson?
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
And our last question I'll ask everybody, because this is a Texas question: Whataburger or In-N-Out?
Ooh,
I've never had Whataburger yet.
yeah, what a fucker, eh?
I still haven't.
Wait.
Adam
Oh,
Adam
what had Whataburger
Adam ordered it the one night, didn't order me shit.
Okay, so
he just showed up and he's like, "Oh, I ordered a Whataburger." I'm like,
so AJ and I are always getting Whataburger when we go down to Texas, and then we got back late one night on this past year, and Ant went and he grabbed himself Subway, so he ate Subway maybe a half an hour before. So when AJ and I got back and we ordered a $75 Uber Eats Whataburger to our Airbnb in Texas, and it gets there and it's like, well, where's mine? I'm like, you fucking just ate.
I was like, but I haven't had Whataburger.
I know. So it's man, that is a tough one.
I have that In-N-Out, and In-N-Out is very good, but I have to leave this question in suspense until I have Whataburger for myself.
This is bothering me. This is
Isn't
bothering me because as many times you've been to Texas,
No.
you figured you would have had it by now.
Well, so my thing, Chris, is when I drink, I don't eat food. I just go full in drink mode. So even like when Adam and Alex, we've stopped to get it prior to going to the stadium. Well, I've already been drinking, so I'm like, well, I don't want to eat. I'll eat in the stadium. But yeah, I have to definitely get it the next time. But In-N-Out's good.
That's just like me coming up to Canada and didn't eat poutine.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
You come to Texas, you and don't eat Whataburger?
No. And I've been to Texas now. I've been to Texas 5 or 6 times. Like,
Exactly.
There's no excuse.
I would say I would pick an In-N-Out burger. I would go In-N-Out over Whataburger.
Chris, what do you think about that?
I'm not saying it's a better burger. I'm just saying if there was two there, because I've had more In-N-Out than Whataburger.
Now you're backpedaling.
No, I'm giving rhetoric here.
It's like a dagger through my soul. You choose In-N-Out over Whataburger. Hey, don't worry. Hey, when I found out Armando was actually born in California, we all thought it. I'm like, man, you're from Texas. You born and raised in Texas.
There was a couple first with Armando when I was listening. I was like, wow.
Yeah, and then he chose In-N-Out. I said, I'm taking your Texas card, bro.
Born in California and took In-N-Out over.
Okay,
and took In-N-Out.
Here's the thing with In-N-Out and what now, if you were saying In-N-Out versus Shake Shack, I'd probably go with Shake Shack over In-N-Out.
Shake Shack's better than In-N-Out.
So it's not that I'm thinking In-N-Out's a better burger.
But that's what you said.
No, I said if I had to choose the location, I don't know what to get at Whataburger because I've only been there twice.
Chris, do you sense backpedaling right now?
No. I'm saying
it's not like you don't know my number.
I know. But so when I come this year, when we come down, I'm gonna go to Whataburger with Big Chris.
Oh yeah, me too.
I'm gonna just get whatever he orders.
Yeah, good. That's a good call. That's all I did with Boots when we went to In-N-Out. I said, Boots, just whatever you're getting.
Yeah, but In-N-Out, it's like are you want a burger or a double burger? It's
Yeah.
very easy to order at In-N-Out.
Sounds like you should be their spokesman.
I should
like
be.
them so much.
Yeah, it seems like you're In-N-Out spokesman. But anyway, brothers, man, y'all just don't understand, man. I appreciate every bit of this conversation, man. I always end the show with this. I always give my guests their final thoughts. Anything you want to tell the audience about the CanFan or anything personal, or just say bye.
I hate to bring it into football, so I'm going to try not to. I'm more excited to just, again, like you said, you're coming up to Canada. I'm excited to like go out and have beers with you in Vancouver or somewhere nice in Canada that you didn't get to see. I'm also excited to come down for our Thanksgiving Day trip. I'm more excited to go and just hang out with people that we've met more so than the football game itself. And that's why I like that you're doing a show like this with talking to content creators, because it's opened up so many more doors to people that we never, ever would have met in a million years without this type of platform. So that's my final thought. It's an awesome thing. And it's still in its infancy, right? Like there's still so much room for growth.
Episode
much more
number
stuff.
4. Yeah,
episode 4. So there's so much room for everything. So that's my thought. That's all I have to say about that. Like Forrest Gump would say.
My final thoughts is, if you know anybody out there who's not a Cowboys fan or a Cowboys fan or a Dallas Cowboys Chris fan, you tell them to go fuck themselves.
Hey man, y'all are freaking. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Look, now tell everybody, even though they know, tell everybody where they can find you on your social media apps.
This is your wheelhouse.
Look, we made it easy for everybody out there after we changed the name that Ant stupidly made early on. It's just at Cowboys CanFan on all social channels. We stream our shows Sundays and Wednesdays on YouTube, and then from that, we just send out bits everywhere. So you'll see Instagram Reels, you'll see YouTube Shorts, you'll see TikTok toes all over the place. We have multiple guests. We have a big draft, a 4-day draft extravaganza that's coming up for the draft show. And you know what? We got a lot of tasty treats going to be dropping on our YouTube channel. So make sure not to just watch us on the YouTube Shorts. Watch some of our long form content. I know you got some fucking patience. Watch a little bit more than a 30-second video out there, you schlubs.
Right.
Yeah, Cowboys CanFan on all channels.
Awesome. Well, man, once again, thank y'all for joining Conversation with Chris. This is our episode number 4. We appreciate y'all.
Appreciate
Dallas
you,
Cowboys for life.
life.
For life.
Peace.
Love you, Chris.
Love you, Chris.